The truth of our history is that the house of KBR is built on a foundation that is characterized by the extraction of labor from Black people and on wealth generated from tobacco, which has caused tremendous death, disease, and chronic illness. We must work to repair our foundation. We may not be responsible for the conditions of that foundation, but if we are to live in this house, we are responsible for repairing it. If we don't search our history for mistakes, we will not learn the lessons of the past. So today we are looking back at what we can learn from our history as a trust and the history of our founder, Mrs. Catherine Bidding Reynolds. We often talk about our founder as a woman ahead of her time, but we know from researching her history that she was also very much of her time. To truthfully examine the legacy of her wealth that she so generously left behind, we must acknowledge the role of slavery and tobacco in generating and increasing that wealth and the evidence of comfort with racist and inequitable systems that harm the very people that she sought to help. So we're looking back at our history, and frankly, we're holding ourselves accountable. While we cannot change where our funds originated, we are responsible for using them wisely today, apologizing for and addressing any past harms, and working with all of you to change systems and eradicate the roots of the problems that face our state today.
Early in the year, we allocated $100 million of the Trust's public equity portfolio to invest more heavily in businesses that are economically significant in the state of North Carolina. And this year, we have started the process to screen out tobacco companies from the Trust portfolio. So I expect that by the end of the year, the Trust portfolio will no longer hold any securities issued by tobacco-producing companies.
We have learned a lot over time about how best to support communities and build their power. So yes, it takes money, but it also takes working again to repair, putting community at the center of the work. We affirm our commitment to racial equity as there is no credible route to fulfilling Mrs. Reynolds' vision and working for systems change that does not go through racial equity. The people are not broken. They're in conditions that are broken. The conditions are where they live, work, pray. They're the schools, the healthcare systems, the working environment that they're in. And those systems are determined by the policies and practices that govern them. So when we're talking about systems change, we're talking about policies and practices that need to be changed. And I'm standing here today full because at my heart, I am Laura from Lumberton. I'm descended from slaves. I am descended from tobacco farmers. I am descended from people who made sacrifices for me to have the best education that somebody else's money could buy, so that I could be in this place today as president of the Kate B. Reynolds Charitable Trust, standing here in Tanglewood Park, where in 1947, I wouldn't have even been let past those gates. Now look at that. Look at that. Leading this foundation, and I have to believe that Mrs. Reynolds would have evolved with the times if she had lived, and I have to believe that she would be so pleased with where we are and with what we're doing with this foundation that she left behind. And so I say what we always say at the Trust. Thank you, Miss Kate. Thank you, Miss Kate. Thank you, Miss Kate. We love her and we love the legacy that she left behind. But the bottom line is today, in order to do what she asked us to do, we can't even do that from the Trust. We have to do that with business people, with government officials. We have to do that with teachers, with folks who are working in these nonprofit organizations. We have to do that with parents. We have to do that with children because they are the future. Because the devil is a liar. I'm standing here right now, and I know that transformational change is not impossible. It is not impossible. We can do it. We can do it from this day forward. I thank you for coming out, and I thank you for being who you are. Take care of yourselves and love each other.